Dan, Radio Style. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Doing the final little snippet of the Agnes and I recording that we finished up about a week ago. Man, I just had a lot going on this week. It's been tough to get all this stuff chopped up and properly pushed out. But that all being said, we are coming in with Leaving on a Jet Plane. That was Peter, Paul, and Mary. And I've put together two different shows. They were both about 10 minutes each, so it made a slightly longer one, but not terribly so. It's like in that wiggle room area. But one of them is called like Two Suitcases, is kind of what I named it. And then the other is Manifesting Skillz with a Z, or a Z, as some say. And it's just kind of meant to be a little more of a kind of, these are the legitimate skills that we're kind of using and wanting to get. So it was a very good discussion we had. So hopefully you enjoy. I'll be checking back in here in just a few minutes, and we'll close out. Thanks.
And it's kind of like you're using thought transmission as a, it's that, especially with the specific person subject, Dan, I'm doing it to give and uplift. Yeah. I'm not doing it to get. And that's where I think we're specifically with the subject of a specific person, it gets distorted. People still use it. I'm going to send out, love to this person, but I'm going to keep visualizing them giving love to me, which really you haven't got the self-love in place. And you've kind of got you've iced a rotten cake, so to speak. You can't. You've missed the whole point of what you're doing with that. So, and I really want to mention that because I still get emails, at least 10 a week, about doing the I got to get love. Again and again and again.
That's why I've brought it up, is like I have too, because I honestly know that there's a good percentage of people that truly need to look at what love is. And honestly, I think the way you were just describing that, that's kind of one of those, when you just love somebody kind of unconditionally, especially if it's in this status of you're trying to manifest them into your life or closer to you, a lot of times you just love them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no need back, because there's really, and really there's not anything to get back anyway. They're over there still, apparently, right? Isn't that why we're trying to manifest them? But when you get that connection with them, it's when you just love, and if they truly just love, and then you have that thought transmission. I think that's one of the good moments that you're talking about, where you feel it. You feel a love that is just like, this is why I'm doing this. This is like amazing. It'll bring tears to your eyes. So I think it's important to weigh our love that we're seeking, or are we giving love? And I think if we're seeking love, you're coming from a place that you're maybe not quite ready for a good relationship. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with dating people and you're going to break up at some point, maybe because you're trying to change, or whatever. Two half people can be happy together forever. I've seen some really dysfunctional people together that seem to work. You're like, I don't know how they stay together, but they seem to.
Yes.
So I've seen all walks.
I remember years ago when it was really, really early. It's probably 20 years ago now, when I first started reading Florence Scovel Shinn, which was the first manifesting book I ever read, and then Neville Goddard, The Law and the Promise, which was the second book I read. But I was in a lot of pain, and it was when my husband at the time we'd just separated, and I knew he had been seeing somebody else, and I was in all that second best business. And I was, really really angry and in pain, and I'm going through all that stuff that you go through daily until it plays itself out. But I remember going to see my Neville friend, because at that point we weren't looking at anything on the internet. We were just buying books at the bookshop, and we were reading it and dissecting the Neville books with a highlighter pen and discussing it over the phone. And she said to me something really interesting. She said, when a relationship breaks up, she said, they don't take the love with them like two suitcases. And I remember going, what? Anyway, I pondered that for like a month.
When people hang on.
Yeah.
So this is my first time, I think, hearing this. When someone leaves, they don't take love with them. Am I quoting that right?
Yeah. It's not like they leave you and they leave and they take all the love with them like two suitcases. They walk out with it. She was saying to me, if you felt love for that person at some point, which you obviously did because you were together for 10 years, The love was within you. You called it up and sent it to them. So she said, when they leave, they don't take it with them because it's you that called it up. So you can call it up anytime you want, even though they've walked away. And I remember going, that is so profound.
That's huge.
It's huge. And I will never forget how she described it, because it was very simple little, because I'm really visual. The two suitcases made a lot of sense to me. So I remember thinking, wow, I'm going to sit in meditation. I'm actually going to call up the love within me, and I'm going to fill myself up with it. And I remember I walked into her house probably about a month after this, long relationship had split up. And she said to me, "Oh my God." And I said, "What?" And she opened the door and she, ushered me in. And she said, "You look like you're in love." And I said, I've been working on that. I said, "Your suitcase thing was really good. And now I understand the experience of what you were saying." And I used to sit in meditation, call up the love within me, and totally disregard that my husband had left and he was now with somebody else, like one street away from where I was living, and that I wanted to go and burn their house down.
Right.
I disconnected from all that, even though I had, quite, revengeful thoughts. I never acted out, but the revenge in me was there, and I was trying to break it down. So I used what she said to dissolve the revenge and dissolve any kind of unloved feeling within me, to the point where when I walked in her door that day, she said, "Wow, you've transformed. You look like you're in love." And I thought, well, that's interesting. I must have cracked my unloved thing, if that's what you can see. So it was a very good lesson in, doesn't matter what happens, it's how you interpret it. So I interpreted it that he left and he took the love with him until she said that. Then I understood the mechanics of, hang on, he didn't take it with him. I've got to call it up consciously.
Right. The love is within us to feel, to experience, to
feel,
to have. And I love the example of doing the daily meditation to call up the love. I think that's extremely important.
It is.
That we get
fixes
in touch
everything.
With it. Well, that's the thing is when you're just doing it for that feeling of love, when you're just feeling the love, you're kind of getting in touch with that true like bliss part of all this stuff that people talk about. I think that's when we're really almost tapping into our souls, if you will, really.
And just love for love's sake. Just because you're here, just because you love
so
love
awesome.
you.
Right, yeah.
It doesn't have to be about anyone out there.
Well, and that's why they always say it has to start with yourself anyway. And it's odd that a lot of people are like, well, John Lennon's song, "All You Need Is Love," that's not really true. And it's like, actually, it's a lot more true than you realize. I mean, because when you have more and more love in your life, it's amazing what you tend to experience. But you don't tend to be in places where negative things are happening. It just tends to work out that way. You really, generally speaking, have a kind of a different experience from other people. So it is amazing when you come at your problems with the right emotion, with the right thoughts, and you can
right thoughts.
You can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah. Well, that changed the whole course of my thinking.
Right.
That one conversation while I was in the midst of all that stuff that goes on when you split up with someone for a long time, and it's ended up badly. See, at that time I didn't understand that he was me pushed out. I didn't understand that he was picking up on my thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, and he acted it out. I just, of course, blamed him, and then I thought, okay, now I've got to deal with what's left, and I've got to repair, So I didn't understand the pushed out thing then, but I did get I can replace the unloved feeling with the love. And I worked on that. And that was enough to sort of kick me over the edge back into gear, into a positive way. So
that's another one that kind of bums me out, though, sometimes, because I know there's a lot of listeners out there that are not doing a lot of that self-reflection. They're not really necessarily doing it for that reason. They're really quick to get back into another relationship, and like that's the focus. And I unfortunately, those are cycles too. And it's like your manifesting techniques will work just fine when you're in a cycle, but you might find that when you get that which you're seeking or that which you're trying to create, you might not be real happy with it, because again, if you haven't really worked out all the stuff on the inside, you're still requesting kind of not elevated requests, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Or
yes.
dirty requests, if you will, not in a dirty way, but kind of a
I know what you
filthy.
mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like low grade.
There you go.
Like you ask different questions when you're in a kind of a downward spiral to when you're actually feeling really good. You can't access those kind of questions when you're down here in your depression or in your anger or in your revenge.
Right.
You can't access that stuff. It doesn't come to you. You know, like I do this thing where when I'm feeling really good and I have really good thoughts and I have really good questions, I'll write them down. And it's like uplifted me writes it down for depressed and downtrodden me, because that person won't even understand that when they're in that state.
Right.
So I write from that person to this person so I can read it and remind myself, but it's like it's coming from a different person because the states are so different.
Absolutely. And the thing that bums me out with that is I can't even tell you how many freaking times that I'll say something out loud and I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. And I'll go and it's literally this far away and I'm going to find my pen and I'm twisting it open and I'm like, I've already freaking forgot what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
Already.
It's that,
and I'm like, I'm praying
quick.
Praying to goodness it was actually somewhere in my subconsciousness, consciousness, I don't know, whatever. But no, man, it's disappointing. Disappointing when that happens.
Yeah.
So there was one last small point, and then I don't even know how long we're in on this. Anyway,
quarter past 12. I don't even know what time we started.
I have no idea because we had so many issues getting started. So I figured we'll do one more like small little thing because I thought this was pretty sweet. And then this with us, it could, who knows, it could spin into an hour, but I think we'll probably be better than that. But this is page 195. So hello. Here.
I'm really glad you read that, Dan, because it's so deep and so you can so reflect on it for quite a long time.
It's awesome. I mean, he's talking about the visual images, and I thought this was huge. So when we're trying to manifest our specific things, you want to be able to see it, but you want to be able to like feel it and hear it, like all these different things. So it kind of gets into explaining what that actually means. When you're like one of those people like, what would it mean to hear it? What do you mean? So I thought this was like for 2 paragraphs, I thought this was very, very well stated. So hopefully I don't butcher it because he is hard. He's hard to read and he's hard to speak out loud too.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of practice, I've noticed on this. But anyway, some people are self-impressed best by visual images, others by mental sounds, and still others by mental actions. The form of mental activity which allows the whole power of your attention to be focused in one chosen direction is the one to cultivate until you can bring all into play, basically. Should you have difficulty in understanding the terms visual images, mental sounds, or mental actions, here is an illustration that should make their meanings clear. A imagines he sees a piece of music. Knowing nothing at all about musical notation, the impression in his mind is purely visual image. B imagines he sees the same piece, but he can read music and can imagine how it will sound when played on the piano. That imagination is mental sound. C also reads music and is a pianist. As he reads, he imagines himself playing the piece. The imaginary action is mental action. And I thought that so brilliantly just talks about what really you need to do when we're doing our imaginal work. That's it. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Give it that level of depth and clarity, and you. So, I figure you probably got all sorts of good things to say on it. This is your bread and butter, girl.
I think, Neville talks a lot about you activating like the senses. Your sight, your smell, your taste, your touch, and your hearing. So obviously when you want to manifest certain things, some of the senses won't be applicable. Like, if you're going to manifest...
Well, we've talked about taste. Taste is a ridiculous one to try to... Like, who cares what they taste like or it tastes like?
Well, if you're going to manifest a car, you're not going to be licking the dashboard. That's one you're not going to use. But
or
the smell
if you
of the leather,
are, without a doubt, don't let people see you do it. I'm just all I'm saying. If you need to lick the dashboard, do it discreetly.
Do it discreetly and preferably at night.
Yes, and goodness, tell no one ever.
I licked the dashboard.
Yeah. Oh no, you should have told me that. That's too much info.
It's
you
too
dashboard
weird.
licker. Probably lick walls too. You poor person. Anyway, yes, leather. The way it smells, the way it feels, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So you activate. Obviously, you're looking at it. You can smell the leather, and you can hear the sound of the car. But yeah, there's going to be, you can touch it as well, but obviously the visual and probably the new car smell
and the music, hearing the music, right? Isn't that another good one? When you're like, you hear that sound system, you're like, oh man, it's just the experience.
Exactly.
And that's when I think you're like the pianist playing, right? Like you're imagining, and that's like the pinnacle of your imagining, and it happens so much more quickly when you do that. It's amazing.
But it's that thing of, okay, I got to look out my own eyes while I'm in the car or I'm playing the piano or whatever. You got to look down. You've actually got to be in your body looking out, not be seeing yourself over there across the road sitting like you're an actor sitting in the driver's seat.
And the same goes.
You got to participate.
Absolutely, the same goes for the specific person too. By the way, is like when you're seeing them, it should not be from a distance. You should be seeing them like in an embrace, like the way they would look like if you're a guy with a girl, like from the top of her head. Like I know when I hug her hair's gonna like I can rest my chin on top of her
under
head.
the chin,
right?
Exactly.
And you got to imagine that whole because that's real. It's like the thing I like to use, and someone even commented recently that cracked me up. But a beach ball is a fun one to try to manifest, just because it's a stupid basic one. But again, it's the same thing. It's like holding it, like having it in your hands, smelling it. It's just a trip how you can make things pop into your life that you'd be like, oh, that's my beach ball. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, when you're manifesting that specific someone, you totally want to have that level of imagery in it, basically. Yeah. That's why I thought
you know what?
That quote was so good.
This is a weird one. I went to the shop the other day and I wanted some long sleeve T-shirts. So I went to this particular shop in London. And I was, I've got about like a 40-minute, and then I got to get out of there because I can't stand it. So I've got 40 minutes. I got to find. So I'm there, find the shirt. I thought this is nice. I wish they had them in other colors. Just a black long sleeve T-shirt with white stripes. Anyway, I had this thought out in my head. Be really nice if they had them in other colors. Bought the T-shirt, put it in the bag, came home, never thought about it again. Today, I go for a walk and I'm walking. There's this huge palace in London. It's got massive grounds and you're walking and like you feel like you're totally in nature and it's like acres and acres of. So I'm walking around and I pass the ducks on the little river bit, the little fluffy, babies. They look like little fluffy grapefruits because they're really small.
Oh, the little ducks.
And then I come around the corner and there's the gray T-shirt with the white stripes hanging on the wall outside. No one's around. I pick it up. I go, it's a size 12. Wow, that's interesting. I had one thought. I found a shirt.
You were like walking through nature and then your
I'm walking
shirt's
through
just
nature.
Magically there?
Yeah, it was magically there.
That's pretty awesome.
On this kind of fence. It was gray and white, not black and white. It was a size 12, and it was from the exact store that I bought the other one from, but I did not see that color there. I only saw the one that I thought, wow, that one thought I had in that one shop about 10 days ago. All I did was activate the desire, but it was extremely visual, and I knew what it felt like.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Activated 2 of the senses. The shirt, I found the shirt.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like, I was just like, today I was sitting there going, no way. That is a mental trip I would never have even thought would come.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that would be actually very, very cool. And I will say there's been plenty of times where I've had something happen and it was just like, oh, yeah, that's right. I was thinking about that. Oops. I like it when I accidentally manifest things. Not usually bad, but weird ones, like strange things that you're just like, oh, that was me because I was thinking, I was talking about that with someone 2 days ago. I was talking about, I don't know, I don't want to say anything weird because it's going to show up in my life. Yeah. But there's examples out there. We'll just use beach ball because if a beach ball shows up in my life, that will not bother me in any way, shape, or form. So yeah,
we'll talk. I was
talking about a beach ball, right? And then I'm just driving down the road and there's a beach ball. What the frick? Oh yeah, that's right. I was just talking. So
like you think it's random, but today I thought, wow, thank you for again the reminder of that thought, which I launched with visual and thought of, I wish they had it in other colors, and then I put the black shirt on. And I thought, I really love this, and this is exactly what I wanted. Probably took less than 5 minutes, but that was launched through what you're talking about in the reading of I don't even think I did it consciously of, I like the feel of this shirt. I tried it on, I put it in the bag. I only tried it on for like about 3 minutes.
And on
I thought,
top
I've got
of
to
that,
get...
the best part is, and this is for the listeners for sure, she thought of it at that moment like, wow, that'd be really awesome. All of you have been shopping before and had this experience. I wish they had it in other colors. Literally, Agnes thought about it zero after that. One time.
I didn't think about it once.
And then 10 days later, without trying any shenanigans at all, and never thinking about it in a negative way, mind you, either, because it was done. It was a one and done. But literally, after that, 10 days later, here she is already manifesting something. And it was just like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's cool. Good for me.
But when I held it up and I went, oh, my God, it's a size 12. That's brilliant detail. Thank you.
I'm assuming that's your size, right? Because otherwise that's like, no, it's just a size 540. I don't know what the hell that means. Size 12.
No, it was exactly the same size as the one I bought. So it was like,
excellent. That little detour, because I see like this much of your body, right? So
of course you don't.
I can tell you're a size 12, totally, right? I mean, just from that little section in there, like for sure, like that's everyone. It's like Ray Charles, where he'd like grab people's by the elbow, right, or the wrist. I guess that's the body part, and he would do that.
Feel,
to see if they were, on the heftier side, maybe. So anyway, that's just funny how it plays out. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I know that was a lot of good stuff in there. And definitely enjoy doing these recordings with Agnes. If you'd like to reach out and contact me, feel free to do so at danradiostyle@gmail.com. And, of course, always you can leave comments in the comment section below, and that is always appreciated. In this case, we're going out with Herman's Hermits. I'm into something good. So